3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? It's another episode of Ash on Comics, and I just read something that I was not very excited about originally when I heard about it. Even though I love this writer, even though it's right up my alley, what I'm talking about is Firepower by Robert Kirkman, Chris Samnee. When I look at this cover here, this is the trade paperback, or I should say graphic novel is more accurate. This does not get released in comics. This is an original graphic novel. I heard about this a couple weeks ago. Been getting strong push for it from fellow YouTuber and longtime viewer of my channel, Comic Quirks, call him Jimmy. He's been pushing this, and I was like, yeah, Robert Kirkman, of course. I look at this cover, and it's not up my alley. Like, I look at this and go, that's kind of corny and lame. It's called Firepower. Whatever. But he and other people promoted the book and said, you got to try it out. It's really good. I was at the store on Wednesday getting my new comics, and one of the girls, I asked about the free comic book day version of issue number 1. I was like, I didn't even see it. I got the free I did this on my Ash Wednesday video. And she's like, oh, you got to read the trade paperback. And I was like, yeah, I've heard. But I was like, I don't want to invest in a graphic novel. I don't know if it's going to be good. The great thing about comic books is, they're bite size. So you can sample it. You can just be like, you know what, give me a bite. I didn't like that. And stop, right? You don't have to keep going. You buy the first issue of Firepower, you hate it. You're out $3.99, but when all said and done, it's not that much. You go buy like a $10 graphic novel, and it sucks. You're like, oh man, I felt that. Now, that being said, $10 is fantastic. This is like 150 pages. This isn't a 100-page giant. This isn't, like the Detective Comics, 1000 anthology where the story's like, but you paid $10 for it. No. This is 150 some odd pages approximately of just cover to cover story action. This is fantastic. I have not been this excited about a new book in a long time. Let me just tell you something right now. I like this better than Oblivion. Oblivion Song, right? I'm the big proponent of Robert Kirkman, same guy, Oblivion Song. Love that series. It's fantastic. This is in no way a slight against Oblivion Song. I've been promoting it. I haven't reviewed anything because you can't talk about Oblivion Song. It's something you must read yourself. I read this, and this is approximately 6 issues worth of comic or more. So, right, you're getting 6 issues for $10. First of all, I think $9.99, it's steal. 6 issues worth of comic, and it's better than the first 6 issues of Oblivion Song, in my opinion. I loved this book. It opens up beautifully. Robert Kirkman, he's been one of the best writers in the business for a while, but he did start off kind of rocky. I read his Invincible first 6 issues, and I could really see the amateurness in his writing at the time. What he's writing here is leaps and bounds. You've seen this guy. He's perfecting his craft. I mean, Oblivion Song is fantastic. It opens up. Here's all the credits, by the way. It opens up presumably somewhere in the Himalayas. It never really quite says. And there's a guy who's just traveling in the snow. And there's no dialogue. There's no internal monologue. There's no narrator. Because Kirkman is so adept at his craft. He understands how to write scenes, not just constantly fill it up with self-impressed words. Like a lot of these modern writers, who I'm not going to name right now for the benefit of someone who recommended this book to me. I don't want to upset him. But there's certain modern writers out there that they just like to hear themselves talk. They're so impressed with their scripts and their little dialogue, and they don't realize how bad they are at writing. Writing isn't just writing words. It's telling a story. This book tells a story, and we open up, and on the surface, it doesn't seem like much. Look at this guy, he's just going through the Himalayas. But if you pay attention, and if you do get this book, and I recommend that you do, read it slowly. When you have books that don't have dialogue and words on them, it's very easy to just bounce from panel to panel to panel to panel, flip the page, panel to panel, and, you know, just going quickly. And you can do that. And I'm not saying that you're not a smart enough, intelligent person to do that and understand what's going on. But like going to a fine restaurant and ordering, you know, a $60 steak, you're not going to sit there and just go gobble it down, right? You're not going to go get a $50 glass of wine and just guzzle it. Savor it. Savor it. Especially the scenes that don't have the dialogue, because like music, it's meant to be at a certain beat, right? You're not supposed to play music on fast forward. It's meant to be enjoyed at a certain beats per minute. Same thing here. These panels are playing on beats. So we get look at this. And this is another thing. Understanding, a good writer of comics has to understand page transitions. So this guy, you know, he comes up to the bottom of the top of the mountain, and you can see he's just struggling. He's in desolate. The very next page, 2-page splash. Now, why is this important to draw a big mountain range? No, it's important to show that he's literally in the middle of nowhere. As far as the eye can see, there's no help. There's no one to aid him on his journey or whatever he's doing. And sure enough, his journey is perilous, because we can see here the next thing. He's traveling. He's erecting a tent. He's trying to eat. He's warming his hands. You know, here's a scene of loneliness. And he's looking at this photo. This photo is very important. You don't know why at first. You're just like, oh, what's going on? And you can see on the expression on his face, and he still continues on his journey. And it's like, it continues on and on. And you think, oh man, this is just so stretched out. It's not. I assure you, this is very important, the way he writes these scenes, to show you the how do I say, how perilous and how arduous and how long his journey is. You need to feel that in some sense. So here he is, he's running out of food. He's frustrated and he throws away the package. And then he's like, he looks over. Nope, he's got to pick it up. You know, he can't leave this plastic thing. You know, you don't leave plastic and stuff in the environment. This is important too. This is another thing. So much writing. When you write, if you're a writer, or if you ever aspire to be a writer, one of the most important things ever taught to me by writing teachers was everything you write should have a purpose. Should never be fluff. It shouldn't just be in there to add word count or page count or whatever it is in the medium you're writing. Everything there should be for a reason. And when I came across the scene, I was like, oh, he sees the plastic, he looks at it, goes and picks it up. Now he's packing up, and he continues on his journey. And I was like, oh, but that plays later in the book. Here he's collapsing into the snow, and he's like giving up. He's out of energy. He's not eating now. We know he's out of food. Things are going dark. He's buried in snow, and then this butterfly comes along. Eyes cracks open, props himself out of the snow, and the butterfly lands on his finger, and he smiles. Look at no dialogue, no narration, nothing telling you what to think. You're just enjoying this journey, what's going on. And you can see just the art carries this. This isn't the most beautiful art in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Chris Samnee as far as like, oh, this is pretty to look at, but he's able to tell this story here. This is how you do silent comics right. And the butterfly is flying away, and he's like, oh, it gets up and go. And he's following it. And it's fluttering away, trundling through the snow, following, comes into some sort of cave or something, and there's like gas. He's stumbling, trips on something. You can see he's in pain. He's like, wait a second, brushes the snow away. He's found a secret staircase. Huh. And he's traveling, now he's climbing the staircase. And again, the perfect page transition. You're at the end of a page, he's at the top. You have to wait until you turn the page to see what happens. That's something that most, I would say, novice or inexperienced comic readers, even some longtime readers, don't really fully understand or appreciate, that there's a science to this, how to write comic books. And then this guy shows up. You dare step foot on the sacred steps of the Temple of the Flaming Fist uninvited? Why have you come here? But you can instantly see he's not a normal, like, Shaolin type. I'm just going to call him Shaolin, even though he's not. He's Flaming Fist, but, you know, it's obviously inspired off Shaolin monks. He's not the normal, you know, Tibetan monk. He's got earphones, he's wearing a baseball cap, and he's wearing Nikes. It's like, you're like, what the? And that immediately caught me off guard. It immediately captured my interest. I was like, part of this is playing on classic tropes that we love, right? Quentin Tarantino used the same type of thing in Kill Bill. Old classic kung fu movies, like traveling to find the hidden monastery. We've seen this before, but Kirkman spins it on his head. And he's like, wait a second, why is this guy wearing Nikes and he's got a baseball cap? And he's like, he doesn't seem like they're traditional. Something's different here. What's going on? It makes you want to know more. And then the character's like, there are stories of a great temple hidden in this mountain range, led by Master Wei Lun. I have come here to learn. There are great many places for learning in this world. All of them are far easier to get to. I've learned all I can down there. Show me. And then it's like immediately he's taking off his jacket and it's like, it's on. You can, in the back of your mind, you can hear like the drum beats, like, the music started, like, this is going to be a kung fu fight. And when I was told about this comic book originally, I was like, oh, Ash, you like kung fu movies? Like, I was like, I do, but kung fu never works in comics. Like, the reason kung fu works in the movies is because you get to see the kung fu. Like, it's a full live action. Like, seeing a person drawing, like, a drawing of a person kicking or punching isn't the same. But this isn't about the kung fu. This is a story about a great many things, but it's a story about a mystery of this character here. We find out his name's Owen. What his personal journey is, why he's on the journey, why it matters to him, and it just so happens that kung fu is the setting. There's a mystical temple and this order of monks that know that they're fire monks or something. And it's like, you will show me now. I haven't eaten in days. I'm very weak. You want me to fight you? Mind or body, you should know who commands who. Have you not learned to always be ready? I have. You now fight to prove your place among us. If I turn you away, you will surely die. It is for your life you now fight. Your level of effort should reflect that. Attack me! And then there's a fight. And of course, the Great Master is the Great Master. He can't be hit. And I'm not really here to read the whole book to you. This is how the book starts off. And it goes on, and eventually Owen is accepted into this thing, and he has to give up his iPod. There's a really cool thing where the master's going through his backpack, he's like, oh, and here's where this part comes into play. It's like, let's see what you have brought me. Most of what you carry with you is garbage. You leave nothing of yours behind on the mountain. This is good. A little foolish, but good. This is mine now. So he takes the iPod. And you can see part of the reason, and this is important, of why this master, it's the story, why this master accepts Owen, right? To become his student, because Owen is genuinely a good character, a good guy. He is a worthy student. And it was through scenes like this, scenes of like how he respected nature and didn't leave his trash on the mountain, that gains this master's respect. And there's other characters that come into play who are also students, and there's rivalries and different things. I wish I could convey just how fun this book is. You like these characters. Part of it is stuff you've seen before, but I hearken it to George Lucas's Star Wars. George didn't, on the surface, he gave something original. Like, we'd never seen lightsabers before. We had never seen some of the surface traits that George brought to us, but the underlying themes of Star Wars we had seen before. I mean, he directly ripped them off of Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. He copied Kira Kurosawa, took heavily influence off of one of his movies called Forbidden Fortress. But that doesn't matter, because it was the execution, when his particular mixing of everything, it worked. The sum of the parts was something we had never seen before. And that's kind of what this book is like. It's like, I've seen so many of the parts that are in this book before, but I haven't seen them combined exactly this way before. And you take all these common tropes and things and you put them together in such a fashion that I don't care that it's not original. I care that I enjoyed reading. I couldn't wait to turn the page. Every character was interesting to me. And it comes like a little scene like this where Owen's trying to eat the rice and all the other monks, they don't accept him, right? He's an American. They're eating rice. He doesn't know what to do. He's looking down. He's like, I don't know. And then this woman shows up. You're not even sure she's a woman at first, but she is. Let me help you. I can't believe no one did this for you. Watch. You'll learn this over the next week or so. Until then, someone will help you. Probably be me. My name is Ling Zan. Watch. And she puts her hands around the bowl. You just have to place your hands like so. And with a little focus, steamed rice. And you can see he's like, what? Was that magic? Definitely not magic. I'll leave you to finish your meal, because he's just like scarfing his meal. And this is another example of how to write something. You don't over-explain it. In fact, you don't explain it at all. You just hooked the reader. You're like, wait a second. She just put her hands on the bowl and made rice, or actually cooked the rice. And of course, you know that they're the Order of the Fire Fist. You can understand by the cover of the book, it's firepower. These monks have the ability to... these monks, you have the ability to do some of the fire. Like, let's just put it that way. There's a little bit more to it. Here's one of the rivals that doesn't like him. Of course, you got to have that to get in a fight. And again, you've seen this before. Harry Potter, right? Needs his Malfoy. This is sort of the same type of thing. But I love the relationship between the student and the master. Jimmy of our Comic Quirks told me, he's like, this is like Usagi Yojimbo. I think he compared it to maybe Avatar. So many people have compared this book, so if I'm misquoting you, Jimmy, I'm sorry. But he did say it was like Usagi Yojimbo. And to his credit, he's right. I felt a lot of that in this book as well. There's so much going on here. I could just talk about this book for days. I don't want to spoil everything. Let's see, I've gotten 40 pages in, and I've already spoiled stuff that you should have read this on your own and gotten to, unwrap this present yourself without knowing what was inside the box. I don't want to do any more. I think, I'm almost a third of the way through the book. You've seen quite a bit. I highly recommend it. It's $9.99. At first I was like, I don't want to spend. That's a stupid way to release a comic book, and I still stand by this, because the $9.99, that you're asking someone to make the heavy investment up front when they don't know anything, the blind buy. Now, there is one caveat to this book that I'm still uncertain of. I have not read that first issue yet. I'm going to probably after I'm done recording this video. But at the end of this book, there's an epilogue. And the only disappointment I had in this epilogue, in this book, was the epilogue. And not because the epilogue is bad. Not by any means. There's nothing in this book that I found was bad. Like I said, I talked about the art, which you can see for yourself, whether the art is aesthetically pleasing to you or not. You don't need me to tell you. I don't find the art aesthetically pleasing. However, Samnee is a skilled storyteller, and that matters a lot, especially for me these days. I will take skilled storytelling most of the time over just pretty pinup pages. Now, having said that, now that I've read the book and I like it so much and I've appreciated the visual storytelling, I actually, when I look at these pages, the art appeals to me a lot more than it did at first. I think is because it adds up, and I know I'm kind of bonded to this book. It's appealing. So your miles are going to vary. Going back to the epilogue, the story ends on this graphic novel, and then it transitions into like almost a different story in the epilogue. And I didn't want this story to end. To put, without spoiling anything, to put it as an analogy that maybe you'll understand, is the Captain America movies from Marvel, right? The first movie was all in World War II, right? Told in the 40s. That's my era of Captain America. That's the stuff I want to see more Captain America in. And at the end of the movie, he crashes, and he's going to be frozen in ice so that he can be woken up in the future, which is our present day. And then the rest of Captain America's stories going forward are going to be that. I wasn't on board with Captain America, and it's for a similar reason as what I'm talking about here as an analogy. I just wanted it to stay in the World War II. I just wanted more World War II stories. This book has something similar where the story changes, like Captain America. I wanted just to stay more of what this book was about, not where it goes in the epilogue. Now, having said that, I haven't read these new stories. It only gives you like 3 or 4 pages, I think, in the epilogue. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I was wrong about this. Maybe it's going to take me to places that I like. And I love this book so much, I'm going to be buying the other ones, unless I read that free comic book day book I got and it sucks. But I extremely doubt it. Kirkman took something that on the surface looked kind of silly and dumb to me, looks like something I don't care about, and convinced me, oh no, you do care about this. Because I do, and you know what? I do love Kung Fu. I didn't think I would appreciate it in comic book form. Kirkman is like, no, I can tell a Kung Fu story in comic books. All right. I didn't think I like zombies in comic books. And Kirkman is like, this guy's gifted. So hopefully I've gotten you to convince you to try this out. Get that book. This book is on its own works. You don't even have to subscribe to the comic books afterwards. You can enjoy this, and have an ending. And I think you'll just enjoy this ride. And even if you never go on to buy the comic books, you're not wasting your money. This isn't like what I thought it was. Part of the reason I was hesitant is because everyone's like, this is sort of the setup for the comic book. And I was like, oh, just the setup? No, this is fantastic. This is what I want the comic book to be. So I've rambled on long enough about this. Get it. I'm super excited. And I love being excited about good comics. I think this is a comic book for everyone. There's no explicit, there's no really sex. There's no really explicit language. There's no overt, like, there's no gory violence. This is definitely PG to PG-13, but like I said, this is suitable for, kids are reading, sub 12 and up. It's perfectly fine for, but it's not a child's book. This is definitely smartly written for adults. You're going to enjoy this. If you and everyone, old timers like Eric Breen, if you're listening, buddy, I think you would enjoy this book too. It's just really well told. If you're a modern reader of comics like Jimmy, he freaking loves this book. So the only thing that's going to fail is the cover, and everything that people are going to look at this and go, it's not for me. So word of mouth, I want to spread it. Hopefully you'll read it and you'll spread it. And hopefully people will read more good comics. Thanks for watching.